just another thirsty Thursday. But only one more day till Friday. And that's only one day from Saturday. And Saturday is better than Sunday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. Thursday. Whoa, Thursday is the day that we take for granted. Because we know our Friday plans could be slanted. But today's only 2 days from the weekend. And only 36 hours from hanging with our friends. Something tells me this day will go fine. And for dinner I think I'll have a glass of wine. Because it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. Thursday. Over the hump day. Thursday, the end is inside day, Thursday. It could be worse day. Oh, it's Thursday. That Randy Hughes and Joe Kachiever is brewing some more beer at the brewery for the weekend today. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday. It's not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, it's Thursday.
Our good buddy Adam Palm with his version of the Thursday song on a very sunny, very warm Thursday.
Today's not going to be nothing compared to the weekend.
In the midst of June, yeah. Well, it's going to creep up into the 90s starting on Saturday, but today and tomorrow looking at
80s.
highs in the upper 80s. Lots of sun today. If you have stuff to do outside, mow the lawn, etc., today would be the day because it looks like we're getting some showers and maybe some severe thunderstorms tomorrow.
Sounds like it. And then we're going to have a alert weekend with some heat index situations that we should watch out for, especially with, older folks and anybody who has to work outside for long periods of time.
Yeah, and it looks like brutal sunshine this weekend along with that heat. So no reprieve unless you're inside with the air conditioning. Lots to get to on a Thursday edition of the program. We will, of course, talk to Office Cora just after 8 o'clock, find out what she's doing this weekend in the 715. We're going to be asking each other hypothetical questions on Hypothetical Thursday. A fitness test, a supposedly simple fitness test that could predict whether or not you die in the next 10 years.
Yikes. Nobody needs that.
You want to do a fitness test in the morning in your dress, in your pretty little dress?
No, I don't.
Is that a WBA dress? Is that WBA
I've worn
approved?
it before.
I know. I've seen it.
But yes.
Is that a Gene Feels Confident dress and got to go to the WBA?
I never
dress?
feels confident, but it is a dress, and
Okay.
I am going to a conference today.
Okay.
So it's.
I didn't know if it had a specific WBA purpose.
No, it's not T-shirts and some Nike
Flip-flops?
shorts though,
Okay.
which is the usual. So.
All right. Lots of other stuff to get to. Rockmornings.com if you want to get in touch with us. That is where all our contact info is. You can also listen to the show live on the website. Check out the daily podcast. Give it a like and subscribe. And, of course, register to win prizes online at rockmornings.com. We'll get started in just a bit with some music from Killswitch Engage and Metallica. So don't go anywhere.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Big day at the WBA yesterday. Lots of conferences, lots of learning, all that crap. Wisconsin Broadcasters Association.
Yes, that's correct. TV and radio and a bunch of people from the industry, people from Washington.
Ooh.
Right?
A lot of learning.
I didn't do there was a boat cruise thing and dinner, and I didn't do any of that.
I saw the boss one on that.
I believe there was a few folks on that. So
Yeah. A little hobnobbing. Ugh.
I did not do that part.
Ugh. No thanks. Braden's Law.
Yes.
The law named after a Madison area teen who died by suicide earlier this year was passed by the Assembly in Madison yesterday. The bill will now head to the Senate for approval. The law, which makes sextortion a felony under the law, will allow law enforcement to go after those responsible for this new crime that's been becoming more prolific across the nation. The bill also provides that a crime victim or the victim's family member is eligible for payment from the Department of Justice's Crime Victim Compensation Fund. Representatives Brent Jacobson and Pay Snyder, is it Pay? Is that actually the name? Who helped introduce the legislation, spoke on the assembly floor before the vote. I think we need to send out this measure and join other states to make a statement that we care about our youth and stay away. Mm-hmm. Braden's family also present in the gallery for the vote, but if you know anything about that story, like an ex-girlfriend or something, right? Or somebody had pictures of him or claimed to have pictures of him and was going to send it out. And
well, a lot of times it's organizations and gentlemen from other countries and that pretend to be somebody else and then get these photographs or this. And then, yes, hold the kids
threatening them for ransom, essentially.
Right, yeah, money or, exposure. And, I mean, that's a nationwide problem.
But, it got passed, and now it has to go to the state Senate for approval. So, Braden's Law. Massachusetts jury finding Karen Reed not guilty of the most serious charges and guilty on a lesser charge related to the 2022 death of her Boston police officer boyfriend, a guy named John O'Keefe, ending a weeks-long trial that has drawn interest from all across the country and the world. True crime fans, there'll be no shortage of Netflix specials about this one sometime in the next year or two. But the jury convicting Reed of operating a vehicle under the influence, but not on charges of second-degree murder and leaving the scene of a collision resulting in death. Reed sentenced to 1 year probation. Prosecutors accused Reed of backing into O'Keefe, her ex-boyfriend, or former boyfriend, I should say, with her Lexus SUV in a drunken rage and then leaving him to die in the snow after a night out drinking with friends back in January of 2022. Her defense team claims she was framed for death by the cops who beat O'Keefe, let a dog attack him, threw him in the snow, and then purposefully botched the investigation. As the verdict was announced, Reed smiled and braced her defense team. Outside supporters could be heard cheering and chanting, "Karen is free." She told the crowd, "I cannot be standing here today without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team financially and, more importantly, emotionally for almost 4 years. No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have and my team." Friends of O'Keefe called the jury's decision a devastating miscarriage of justice. So, obviously, people on both sides of that. But there was people out in droves yesterday. I was watching video footage of it, and out there with their lawn chairs and coolers in the heat, waiting for a verdict, as this thing was, it's been a week that these guys have been debating. Yeah. The first trial ended in a hung jury, so it's just a second trial for Karen Reed. Now she's a free woman, essentially, with probation for a year. U.S. government changing its dietary guidelines from the Department of Health and Human Services when it comes to alcohol. Did you see this? Mm-mm. An updated dietary guidelines for Americans will be released in the coming weeks, and they are nixing, a.k.a. getting rid of, the recommendation that you limit your alcohol intake to 1 or 2 drinks per day.
I drank beer with my friends. I liked beer. I still like beer.
They're not saying there's any less danger to your health, just that apparently won't list a specific amount from now on. It'll be more about where you're at, how old you are, what kind of health you're in, what kind of shape you're in. Instead, it sounds like there will be a brief statement encouraging everyone to drink in moderation or limit alcohol intake due to associated health risks.
I'm supposed to spit it out. But no way, Jose. My spitting this stuff out, it tastes like fruit.
Obviously could be a major win for the alcohol industry, which has been, quote, threatened by heightened scrutiny of alcohol's negative health effects. We've heard time and time again, people are going to vaping and going to gummies and drinking less and doing, more like non-alcoholic bars and pop-ups and stuff like that. So we'll see what this does.
I love scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch. Here it goes down into my belly.
One source says that the elimination of the 1 or 2 drinks guideline is primarily because the scientific basis for recommending specific daily limits is limited. In other words, it was kind of arbitrary. Again, it really is up to the person.
I am not drinking any Merlot.
Yeah. So we'll see. Coming weeks, though. Nothing set in stone with that, but they're going to be changing that. Another change being made by the government is the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Specialized services for LGBTQ plus youth. It'll no longer be in operation starting July 17th, according to a statement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. That's a long-ass acronym. The administration said in its statement that everyone who contacts the 988 Lifeline will continue to receive access to crisis counselors who can help with suicidal, substance misuse, or mental health crises, or any other kind of emotional distress, but there will no longer be the LGBTQ plus specialized services. That starts again on July 17th. Honda recall.
I saw a bunch of this yesterday.
Yeah. Honda and Acura vehicles. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the recall is for more than 250,000 vehicles because of an issue with the brake pedal. So we're not talking about the dome light or the window going down or something along those lines. We're talking about some stuff that could seriously impact your driving. According to Honda, the brake pedal pivot pin may not be secured, potentially causing the pedal to shift out of position, making it hard for drivers to slow or stop the vehicle. This includes the Acura TLX model years 2021 to 2025, the Acura MDX models 2023 to 2025, and the Honda Pilot model years 23 to 25. The automaker says dealerships will repair the brake pedal issue for free. But if you've got a Honda or if you've got an Acura in one of those 3 different models, check out the recall online and see if you can get your vehicle in.
Harley Davidson, too. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
80,000 motorcycles, several models in the United States over some back tire issues.
Okay.
Apparently. So if you have a Harley, look it up, obviously. Certain models of its soft tail motorcycles due to the possibility of the mounting tab on the rear shock adjuster breaking, apparently, which can cause damage to the rear tire on the motorcycle, loss of tire pressure, and increasing, obviously some risks. So there is a whole list of them, but they're soft tails, and it's the 2018 to 2024 soft tail motorcycles with a bunch of different models. So if your motorcycle falls in that, you're going to want to look into it.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We got sports coming up in a bit. Also some Metallica. Right now it's Kill Switch.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Metallica, King Nothing. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Brewers and Cubs got rained out last night at Wrigley. Postponed and rescheduled. They're not going to do a doubleheader today. They're going to do it.
Okay.
No, they're going to do it in August. It's a split doubleheader on August 18th at Wrigley. Teams will square off at 1:20 p.m. and 7:05 p.m. to begin a run of 5 games in 4 days during that series. So they do have another game today, though. The final game of the 3-game series is this afternoon at 1:20 between the Brewers and the Cubs, even though last night's game got rained out. NBA Finals continue tonight at 7:30 on ABC. Game 6 of the series, Oklahoma City Thunder at Indiana Pacers. Thunder up 3-2, so they could win it all tonight in Indy. Jared Jones hitting a line drive, glancing off a glove for the winning run moments after LSU got a big break to tie the game, and the Tigers with a 6-5 walk-off win over their SEC rival Arkansas last night, advancing to the Men's College World Series Finals.
Jones in the foreground. He is the winning run. He does get one to hit. It's off the glove of the second baseman, and here comes Hernandez. LSU is on to the finals. They pitched to Jones, and it bounced off the glove of Cam Kojal, and the Tigers are going back to the finals.
Tigers, 51-15 on the season, will play for their second national championship in 3 years when they square off against Coastal Carolina in the best-of-3 finals starting on Saturday. The Chanticleers, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, locked up their spot with an 11-3 win over Louisville on Wednesday. I think that Coastal Carolina's won like 27 games in a row or something like that.
That's
they're on a
streak.
Streak. The Buss family entering into an agreement to sell the majority ownership of the Lakers to Mark Walter for a franchise valuation of approximately $10 billion with a B. That's the highest ever for a U.S. professional sports franchise, which was just said a couple of weeks ago when the Celtics got sold.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the Buss family will keep a minority share of the team, just over 15% for a period of time. In addition, Jeannie Buss will remain the Lakers' governor and continue to run the team for at least a number of years. It was a guarantee as part of the agreement that Buss would remain in charge for the foreseeable future, and Walter fully endorsing the plan. A lot of that's kind of what happened with the Celtics, too, where they've got a guy that's been with the team for a number of years, and then you've got a guy that comes in and just has a lot of money and wants to buy something, and, you kind of want to make sure there's a smooth road as you transition, right? Mm-hmm. Someone who knows the ins and outs, knows all the people, knows
Comes
the lingo.
Along with the purchase for a while, kind of makes...
Yeah, and not necessarily making decisions when it comes to the finances or any of that stuff, but someone who can, make that process a little bit easier. Right. Ravens granting Lamar Jackson's wish yesterday, signing former Packers cornerback Jair Alexander to a one-year deal worth a maximum of $6 million, including $2 million in incentives. We'll see if he can stay healthy, but I think it's week 17. The Ravens and the Packers are playing. So
I know. Yesterday, all of a sudden, it was like, is it like a month? But it's a month before training camp, isn't it?
It's less than a month, I think. Yeah. Well, I mean, the first game, the Hall of Fame game's in August, and we're a month and some change away from that. And the Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, cited by police early Tuesday morning for driving 101 miles per hour. An officer for the Strongsville, Ohio Police Department stopping Sanders at about 12:30 in the morning, doing 41 miles an hour over the posted 60-mile-an-hour speed limit in his black Dodge TRX pickup truck. Sanders must either pay a $250 fine for the fourth-degree misdemeanor or fight the ticket in Strongsville Mayor's Court on July 3rd. I'm just paying the fine and going about my business.
Mm-hmm. Does my car go that fast?
Why would they let it or make it so that it goes that fast if they didn't want me to go that fast? Yeah, I don't know, dude. Driving 101 miles an hour at 12:30 in the morning, not a good idea. Doesn't matter who you are. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to some Papa Roach in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Prime Day will be a 4-day event from July 8th to the 11th. It started in 2015 as 1 day, then 2, now 4. At this rate, by 2027, it will just be called Capitalism Month. But sure, keep impulse buying mini waffle makers or Bluetooth-enabled nose hair trimmers. Because Jeff Bezos definitely needs another yacht. And nothing screams self-control like buying 47 items you didn't know existed, all because they were 8% off. Anyway, your packages of guilt and regret will arrive Monday.
Prime Day is no longer Prime Day, and it's no longer the 2-day Prime Day. It's now going to be the 4-day Prime Day.
Prime for everyone, all the time.
Doesn't it? I mean, it's not going to stop people from shopping, but doesn't it just lose its luster? Why even bother?
I don't know.
But you go through all this marketing and you spend money on that, and why even bother?
Did you give them a taste of it, I guess?
I don't know. The fervor was that it was 1 day, and you're like, yeah, these great deals, and I got 1 day, and you drive interest, and people are hammering away buying stuff. Like our boss, who's apparently bought everything on Amazon. What the hell's going on up there?
I don't know, dude.
Is he moving in? Is he buying new furniture?
Or moving out? I don't know.
What's going on up there?
There's 17 boxes.
Yesterday it was 2 boxes. I went up there this morning. It's like 19 boxes of crap up there.
I hear you. I don't know if he's putting on an addition or...
Doesn't he already have enough stuff in his office already?
I don't know what's happening.
He's the empty box guy in his office. He's got so many empty boxes. You could build a fort in there.
He's taking advantage of Prime is what it is.
Well, he's not waiting for Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Okay.
So we got another couple of weeks. But yeah, Prime Day is now 4 days long, July 8th through the 11th. All sorts of deals. The event's first changed since 2017 when they went from 1 day to 2 days. Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight on ABC. Pacers hosting the Thunder. Thunder up 3-2 in that series. Could close it out, win the championship tonight. Or they, of course, could lose and then maybe a Game 7. Series premiere of a new show called The Waterfront on Netflix. Drama about a family that starts a drug-running operation to try and keep their crumbling North Carolina fishing empire afloat. It's courtesy of the creators of Dawson's Creek and Scream.
I'm driving up here, and I see the name Buckley everywhere.
Who would choose to be a part of this family?
We have money and standing.
That sentence should be in the past tense.
We're struggling. We're going to lose the restaurant, the harbor. We have to come up with $2 million in less than 3 months.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to take control of things.
$10 million worth of cocaine and opiates.
You realize we've crossed a line. There's no coming back from this. Don't have a meltdown right here in the mud.
Sorry.
Do not apologize. Jesus.
The Waterfront on Netflix. It's got a Ozark kind of
I was
vibe.
just going to say, this is Ozark, but
yeah, I mean, we'll
different,
see.
Obviously.
Well, they
had the drug and the money and the things and then went to hide and try to launder that.
This family is a little different where they're struggling financially. They already have the empire, but it's crumbling, and now they turn to the world of running drugs to try to save their family business. Fallon is new. Lionel Boyce and Keke Palmer. Kimmel's new with Seth Rogen and Big Time Rush. Paul Simon and Congressman Maxwell Frost on with Stephen Colbert. Mike Birbiglia is going to be on with Seth Meyers tonight. That is what's on the boob tube. We watched a movie over the course of 2 nights on Shudder called Loved Ones, and it's not new. It's I don't know, I think from maybe a decade ago, but we had seen it pop up in a number of these shows that we watch that kind of highlight horror movies, these lesser-known horror movies that exist. We like to watch those because then it gives us examples of movies that we might want to see that we haven't watched before. You know, you can only watch the Jasons and the Freddys and the Michael Myers so many times. So this was
suggested in a different movie?
Yeah, so there's you know, it's like a show and they highlight, you know, horror movies from a decade, you know, a certain decade of movies and lesser-known films. And this one is from Australia, and it's called The Loved Ones or Loved Ones. And, yeah, and it's a very interesting take on the whole prom slasher thing. So, really good, though. Yeah. I thought it was really well done. Yeah. And it was on Shudder, so if you're looking for it, you can find it there. Took us 2 nights. We started a little bit late the first night, and it got to be about 7:30, and I'm like, I got to go to bed. Yeah. Fitness test that apparently can predict whether you're going to die in 10 years.
All right.
Over 4,000 people aged 46 to 75 tried this fitness test. And the ones who could do it easily were 6 times less likely to die of heart and lung issues over the next decade. It's called the sit-to-stand test or the cross-leg get-up test. All you got to do is sit down on the floor and then stand back up. But you can't use your arms, your knees, or grab anything for support. Lower yourself down until you're sitting cross-legged. Right?
Yep.
Then stand back up. If it's easy for you to do, you're probably in decent health. Ideally, you should be able to do it without putting your hand or your knee down or grabbing onto anything or rolling over or doing one of these things. But if you've got to do one of those things, it doesn't necessarily mean that you failed. They score each test by starting at 10 and subtracting a point every time you support yourself, whether it's putting your hand down on the floor, whether you roll over onto your knee. So a point comes off. Every deduction, of course, takes away from that perfect score of 10. People who scored 4 or lower were most likely to die in the next 10 years. If you're 8 or higher, you should be okay. They say it's a good test for overall health because it involves all aspects of fitness that are not aerobic. Muscular health, balance, flexibility, and weight. If you want to try it, they say to do it on a rug or a mat in case you fall down. So not on a hard floor, obviously. And have something like a chair or a wall next to you in case you do need that help to get up. But it's called the sit-to-stand test.
Interesting.
You want to try it?
No, I do not.
Come on, Gene. Let's see. Get down.
I'm not doing that.
Get down.
No. I will try it at home, in the privacy of my own home.
In the darkness.
But it reminds me when you were saying that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're unfit or whatever, and other people have more difficulty. But because when my husband and I were doing this yoga thing for a while, he couldn't cross his knees like that because he can't. You know what I mean? Like that was years ago even. Just his knees are the way they're just bad, right? And so for him to even get down in that position, not just the standing up from it, but the having his legs in that position was like a no-go a long time ago. Like, he just couldn't do it.
Yeah, obviously certain people have limitations before you take a simple fitness test, but the sit-to-stand test, apparently a easy, simple way to determine
loosely
a baseline
good,
where
but
you're
not
at.
like, way up like this, crossed.
Yeah. Well, we did we did yoga for a little while, and we were watching like a beginner video on YouTube, and they're saying the names of the poses, and I'm watching because I have no idea what the hell. I don't know what mountain and tree and all this other bull bleep is, but at first I'm going like this, and I'm putting my foot down every 2 seconds, and then after like 2 weeks, it's like, okay, now I've got a little bit more. So it does work. Obviously, it takes time, but yeah, same problem. But I didn't have any like injuries that
prevented the flexibility.
Yeah. We'll get to our hypothetical questions in just a bit. Also, some Stone Temple Pilots on the way right now. Rage Against the Machine.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Stone Temple Pilots with Creep. They, of course, were at Maple Grove venues last weekend, along with Blackstone Cherry and the Unlikely Candidates. A very nice show, very good show. Enjoyed it. Nothing like crazy or wild or spectacular. Just
good rock music.
2 thumbs up, man.
Yeah. That's a good
Beautiful
night.
venue, too, out there. Beautiful venue. Lots of space. Plenty of room for more people. Had a good time, though. Blackstone Cherry did a great job. Unlikely Candidates were a nice surprise, and STP did STP, man. This weekend, it's Summer Jam in Eau Claire, Wang Chung, Everclear, Leonard Skinner, Black Crows, live.
I've seen them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they played at Rockfest a couple of years ago after Ed rejoined the band, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, I bet it was.
So, yeah, looking forward to that. That'll be on Friday and Saturday nights. I'll be broadcasting from Eau Claire. You'll be here in the studio. I'll be up there tomorrow morning.
Golf tournament, aren't you? Somebody they're out on the course.
Yeah, so after I get done with the show tomorrow morning, I'll be heading to Princeton Valley Golf Course for the Talk Birdie to Me Eau Claire edition. And after that, I think we're hitting some bars, and then it's Summer Jam, and then I got to come back for the big grand opening celebration.
That's awesome.
Great River Harley-Davidson. Got to MC that bad boy. And then back to Eau Claire for Summer Jam. Part 2. Yeah, so busy weekend. A lot of back and forth. Not going to be a very... thankfully, we've got air conditioning in the vehicle because it's going to be hot. 96-ish tomorrow, or Saturday and Sunday, both days.
Yeah, looking at weather alerts for all of us, really. It's a heat watch for the majority of the area. Heat-related illness is a possibility because the humidity, too. So, like, heat indexes of 102 to 105, apparently.
There's a kid in Chicago. His name is Tavion Norris, and he just graduated high school while awaiting a heart transplant at the hospital. Norris, diagnosed with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy at age 12, missed his high school ceremony when he was diagnosed with heart failure. The school services coordinator, a woman named Hannah Herrick, said there were tears everywhere when Norris graduated because they brought it to the hospital while he was waiting for the heart transplant.
On behalf of the Board of Education of Leiden High School District 212, it is my great honor to bestow upon you your diploma from West Leiden High School.
Now he's still here and was able to graduate. And I'm so happy because I thought he wasn't going to make it. But he made it. Today he graduated, and I'm so happy.
That's his mom. And apparently as he was growing up, he wanted to play basketball for Duke. We're talking like 5th, 6th grade, right? That was his dream, was to play basketball for Duke. But in 6th grade, his gym teacher called his mom and said, Tavion's normally the first one in line, first one running in the gym, first one finishing. But he said, Tavion has started being last. The coach suggested that Mom take him to a doctor to see what's going on, see what the issue is. Diagnosed with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy, a neuromuscular condition.
Yeah.
Leads to progressive weakening of the muscles. Tavion says, I thought they were just making stuff up. Didn't even know what the hell they were talking. What are you talking about? His mom, who worked at a daycare, not familiar with the diagnosis, but after hearing the words, everything just changed. Soon, her son started having trouble walking upstairs, and during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, he stopped being able to walk completely. Back in March, the high school senior, obviously now many years later, throwing up all the time, told his mom he didn't want to go to the hospital because he didn't want to miss school. Wanted to go, wanted to be around his friends, wanted to study, wanted to learn, wanted to graduate. The weakened muscles, including the heart muscles, leading to heart failure. His doctor at Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago said his heart failure was pretty significant. Tavion incredibly sick. Back on May 1st, placed on the heart transplant list. Despite waiting for a new heart in the hospital, he worked every day to finish his last 2 months of coursework and graduate on time. And the school was so impressed, and everybody was so impressed, they made all the arrangements and brought the graduation ceremony to him in the hospital while he waited.
That is a battle. Brave kid and family.
The mom, by the way, has started a GoFundMe to raise some money for a new wheelchair and a wheelchair-accessible vehicle to help transport him to the doctor's appointments and physical therapy. Wheelchair-accessible van for Tavion, if you want to search it for on GoFundMe. But, yeah, just terrible having to deal with that. Shine down in a bit. Plus, Hypothetical Thursday gets underway. Gene will be asking me a question first this week.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Hypothetical Thursday. Asking each other hypothetical questions, seeing what our answers will be, maybe surprising one another, getting your feedback. rockmornings.com. You can head there if you want to get in touch with us and let us know what you think about our hypothetical questions. Gene, you're going first this week. What do you got?
Well, I'm trying to take in consideration how much TV and movies that you ingest, and then trying to figure out what your answer is going to be on this one, because both of these things, I think, are such a huge part of your day and your life that I think the choice between them is going to be hard. But the internet and social media, or TVs and movies, for 6 months, only one or the other.
Oh. Like, if I could only have one for 6 months?
I had to give up all internet and social media, or all TVs and TV watching and movies.
Does the internet include like reels? Because you get a lot of TV and movies and stuff on.
You could dissect it to a million different ways, right? Obviously, because then you can stream on the internet. But just take them at face value, what they are: shows and movies.
Yeah, I could
watching TV or in movies, or going without the internet.
Honestly, I could go without either one. I mean,
for 6 months.
Part of the problem is where you live, right? So if I lived in a cabin on the water,
right? If I lived in Wyoming in the middle of nowhere,
no problem, dude. Get up every day and sit there and have my coffee, watch all that stuff. You know what I mean? But having a job and having the internet, and so I have to have it for work. You know what I mean? It's part of my daily life because of work. Now, if I was digging ditches or laying concrete or something like that, and I didn't need to have Facebook or whatever social media platform I was on, I could easily get rid of that. I've had a love-hate relationship with
the internet and social media.
Yeah, it's great because I can stay in touch with my friends. I can see the growth of their children. All
the wonderful things that it brings.
It reminds me of everyone's birthdays. You know what I mean? But it also is weird because there's people who think they're my friend because they see me on social media or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I saw you," and I'm like, "Okay, thanks, nice to meet you, guy." You know, but I don't know. I could do without either for 6 months. I guess if I had to choose, I would say I'd go without TV and movies
because the way it's tied into what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
if your job was something else, then it wouldn't be necessary. But it could be a different job where the internet's necessary too. So.
Well, there's also times where I'm so busy I don't really have any time to watch TV or movies anyways, you know. Summertime, obviously, the 3 or 4 months of summer, it's just, it's crazy. So I take full advantage when it comes to the fall and winter months, just sitting in my basement watching TV because it's like so busy running around going places.
Well, so a take on that, when you mentioned the place on the lake, would you rather be like isolated quietly in a cabin somewhere or live in a busy city?
Well, living wise, I would rather live in a city. just because that's where I grew up and that's what I know and I'm comfortable there. I don't have a problem with the noise or I love the traffic. I love all the, the options. Things are 24 hours a day. I mean, there's stuff, there's things to do, there's concert, all that stuff. But I do, appreciate what, the solace that a cabin offers. I mean, we go up, to Iron River and we stay at that place. And I mean, obviously if we live there, it'd be different. But about 2 weeks of it is enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah. Maybe when I retire and I don't have anything going on, I can, whittle wood and go fishing and all that stuff. But
you're not going to whittle wood. What are you talking about?
No, but if in terms of living like a daily life,
yes.
I just, in fact, for me, it was tough to move here because La Crosse is so much smaller than where I grew up. And more rural than where I grew up. Everywhere where I lived on the East Coast, it was cities everywhere. So, and I moved out here, and I'm like, what the hell is up with all the farms? I didn't know what those sprinkler things were. I was driving on the highway when I moved here, and I had never.
Fields.
And I'm like, what is? And I got here, and I asked Rudy. I said, what the hell are those things that look like whale skeletons? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't know. They're in the cornfield, and they're like these really long. And he's like, oh, that's how they water the corn. I'm like. He's like, you didn't know what that? I'm like, no, I'd never seen one in my life. I had no idea what it was. Just didn't grow up in a place. I mean, we had little farmers markets and stuff, and there was like a pumpkin patch place that we went to, but they didn't have like a giant cornfield.
And I feel the opposite because I grew up very rural, and I love visiting cities, but I would never, ever want to
You're overwhelmed by that.
I am. Too much traffic, too many people, too much stuff. Fun to visit. Love all the things that they have available to them, right? The museums and the shows and the stuff or whatever, but I got to get out. I got to get too many people.
I like legitimate mass transit. Well, growing up in the Boston area, having the T and being able to utilize that and get places and memorizing the routes and knowing where the stops are and where the good little bodegas and restaurants and coffee shops and all that stuff is and getting off and getting it just what we've got here is terrible, in terms of like its functionability. I mean, it serves the community and that's great, but trying to figure all that stuff out is like, forget it. But in in like a big city where you've got a real train or you got a real bus system or something like that and you've got light rails and all that. And nowadays, obviously everybody Ubers or takes the scooters or whatever the hell they do. But yeah, having a mass transit, especially in a city like, Boston or whatever, being able to get around quickly and easily is nice. Yeah, I would probably get rid of movies and TV shows for 6 months. Which one are you going with?
And whittle wood. Is that what we're gonna get rid of the internet?
You ever whittled wood? Make some good steaks with that. I don't know what the hell else I'm gonna make, but a lot of pointy sticks.
Lots of them.
A whole basket full of them. Are you? So you're staying at the cabin. What do you got for internet or movies and TV?
Oh, I don't watch that much movies or TV. I'd take the internet easily.
Roxy just texted in from the 715, said, I went from Rockford, Illinois to Cadott, Wisconsin. Well, that's a change of pace. Love Cadott, Rockfest, all that stuff, but it's a small town.
I lived in Rockford, Illinois. You're not missing that much.
Yeah, I went to Rockford, Illinois. I won a 50-50.
And then you went and got a...
And then I went and got a gyro at 10:30 at night, and there was a guy with a machine gun.
Arm guard at the Euro stand.
And it wasn't even that good of a Euro.
Rockford. I enjoyed my time there. I tease.
It wasn't that good of a Euro. Like, what are you protecting, dude?
The customer.
If this was a bomb-ass Euro, I'd be like, hell yeah, protect the hell out of this thing. But I was like, this is it? All right, Hypothetical Thursday. Gene's question for me. If I had to give up one for 6 months, which one would I take? Movies and television shows or the internet/social media? I'll ask Gene a hypothetical question a bit later on, and we'll get to sports after Shinedown.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
Shinedown, Dance Kid Dance on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Rain out yesterday for the Cubs and Brew Crew. That game will be rescheduled as part of a doubleheader in August 18th to be exact. Day-night doubleheader. There is a third game, if you will, actually a second game of the series between the Cubs and the Brew Crew, and that's this afternoon at 1:20. NBA Finals continue tonight on ABC. 7:30 tip-off between the Thunder and the Pacers. In Indiana, the Thunder up 3-2 in the series. A win tonight would clinch the NBA championship. No players will face suspensions after a pair of scuffles broke out in Tuesday's Sun Fever game, the Caitlin Clark foul.
10-point lead for the Fever. Midway point, third quarter. Sheldon all over Clark, and they get into it a bit here. Lexi Hall now gets in Sheldon's face. Caitlin Clark hits the deck. Big Ten against Big Ten. Ohio State and Iowa. Both in the same draft class last year.
It is getting spicy in Indiana. And part of that has been J.C. Sheldon and Caitlin Clark just going at it all game.
Were you drunk posting? Because I don't see it anymore. Did you delete it?
That's there.
Or was it a couple days ago?
I don't know why it filled my feed because I don't know. I'm not like a huge WNBA fan or anything, but it was full of my feed. And I mean, they really went after Caitlin.
Well, yeah.
And she's on the team to kind of protect her.
The one thing I didn't like about it personally was that, so the girl reaches out and gets her in the face. That can happen, you know.
But then
the other girl, you know, she comes around and kind of shoves her, and she's like, come on, man. And then the other girl comes over and knocks Caitlin down. Nobody on Caitlin's team came over and was like, no, bro, that ain't happening. Like, she's the franchise. She's the WNBA, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think her team understood that.
None of them went over there and was like, got in this girl's face. And I was like, what are you doing, dude? You have to have a goon. Someone's got to go over there and be like, this ain't happening.
So are they saying now that whole situation was poorly reffed and out of control? Is that
Indiana guard Sophie Cunningham, who was handed a flagrant foul too and immediately disqualified for a hard foul on Connecticut's J.C. Sheldon with 46 seconds remaining in the game, received a subsequent fine in addition to the standard fine that comes with earning a flagrant two. The guard for Connecticut, Marina Mabry's technical foul for forcibly bumping Caitlin Clark to the floor earlier in the game had also been upgraded to a flagrant two, but no suspensions and just the usual
kind of a
fines.
melee there at the end.
Yeah, well.
And Caitlin was just dunking three-pointers all night long.
I feel bad for her because she's got to carry the weight of this stupid league on her shoulders, and these women and these other players can't figure it out, and they just hate her for it. And it's like, you guys are all going to benefit from this in the long run. And I get it, right? It's competitive. It's a game, and but like, have a little bit of like insight to that. Maybe don't be so jealous, because eventually it'll work out for everybody. NASCAR, by the way, working with San Diego to host a race on the streets of San Diego.
Interesting. They've done this in Chicago, right?
Yeah. NASCAR currently has just one points race in the state of California, no races in Southern Cal. NASCAR and the city of San Diego have not yet agreed on a deal, but discussions are ongoing. It's expected that an agreement will be reached, according to the sources that are reporting about this. An announcement tentatively slated for next month, pending a finalized deal. So obviously this won't happen until either next season or the following year, but NASCAR running through the streets of San Diego sometime in the near future. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. My hypothetical question for Gene is coming up in just a bit. Also going to get to Office Cora just after 8 o'clock and Bad News, Happy Music a bit later on.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
Is it over yet? Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Hypothetical Thursday. Your question for me was, if I had to give up one for 6 months, would I choose movies and TV shows or internet/social social media?
Because I know you consume both a lot, and you really consume a lot of TV and movies in comparison, I think, to like me, for instance.
As I've said many times in the past,
it's just on, right? You put it on and it's all the whole time.
Television was my babysitter as a child. I was a latchkey kid, so I came home and I was left to my own devices for hours on end. And when my friends weren't allowed to play with me because I was the bad kid in the neighborhood, I had nothing better to do but watch TV.
I just think that's interesting. I mean, it's just a difference of lifestyle, but like, you have the TV on from the minute basically you get home, and it's just on, and you may not be watching it, but it's always on. And I don't ever have mine on unless we're sitting down to watch something. It's not like it's on.
I wouldn't say it's on constantly, but like, so I'll get home and I'll, put my stuff down and I'll let the dogs out of their kennels and they'll go out, and then I'll feed them or do whatever I need to do, laundry, stuff around the house, make myself some lunch, whatever the case is. And then eventually when I'm going to sit down and work on my computer in the afternoon, which is almost a daily thing, then I'll turn the TV on in the background if I'm not listening. Nowadays, I tend to listen to my sports podcast or my sports show a little bit more often than that. But I still will usually have the TV on and put a movie on that I don't need to watch. It's just more of like there in the background.
Just stimulation. Will you then have that on until like the end of when you're going to bed?
No, I mean, like if I got other stuff to do, I'll turn it off and go, take the trash out, or if I got to run to the store or whatever. But yeah, if I'm sitting down and I'm doing something, like I'm either listening to something on my phone or I've got TV on in the background.
Watching it.
Here's one for you, another this or that. We should probably just change this to this or that at this point, right? As opposed to hypothetical questions. If you had to have one for the rest of your life, would you rather have bad body odor or really bad breath?
Ugh.
And you can't cover up either one.
I can't do anything about it.
They're just constant, and there's no mint or Banaka or any of that stuff that covers it up, because as soon as you
can't floss and gargle
you can't
and
deodorant
get rid of it.
or Axe body spray your way out of it. I
can't shower and make it go away.
You can shower, but the O didn't stay with the B. It's constant. It's a constant problem. Rest of your life, constantly smelling like a bad, smelly armpit person, or having halitosis, nasty breath when you're talking to other people.
I guess I would pick bad breath, only that you could control it more.
Less talking?
But yeah, I mean, you could go to the grocery store, get your stuff done, not speak to anybody, and nobody would be wiser, right? But you couldn't control that if it was just
you run into a good friend
you.
and they're like, "Oh, Gene, how are you?" Hi.
No,
how are you?
Neither one of them are good and always horrifying, but maybe why don't you go over there and we'll reconnect on our phones?
I'll text you.
I'll text you. I'll call you. You go over there and I'll call you. I mean, I guess that's why, because you could.
Well, the BO would certainly.
Yes,
yeah.
it limit it. You know, you get on the elevator to go to the doctor or whatever. I mean,
unless you're in a place with a lot of people, and you could be covered up by the fact that there's a lot of people there, concert or something along those lines.
Yeah, but I could just be there and not talk to people,
like a NASCAR race. You know what I mean? Like. What's that smell? I don't know.
It blends in with everybody else.
Yeah, it's a human.
Yeah, I'd probably
soup.
have to pick that. I mean, they're both terrible, but that's probably the one I'd choose.
You're going with body odor
no.
or bad breath?
Yes.
I don't know, man. As a person who's known several people that have.
Oh, it's bad. I understand.
It's like they don't know. It's like no one said, dude, you need to do something. It's brutal. Like, no, you shouldn't walk around without a breath mint in your mouth because it's not good. Drink some water or something. I
also have someone I know who
has BO?
Has a problem with that, and it's not even pleasant to be like.
Is it a BO thing or is it a wrong kind of fragrance?
I don't know. It's a wrong self-care.
There's a whole biosphere thing happening.
There's kind of is.
Got his own. He's got his
dome.
Own.
Yeah. It's a little dome. Yeah, that's not good either.
The problem with the BO is that nowadays people are covering it up with stuff that's not better smelling, you know? And it's really potent. It's like really heavy. Like some people wear stuff and it's just...
a lot.
Light mist, bro. Like take it easy over there. You don't need to go with the whole can every time you step out the house.
There was a kid I went to grade school with that. And I don't know now, like in retrospect as an adult, if he just wasn't well taken care of or...
Yeah, didn't have a good home life.
Right. If the people weren't washing his clothes and helping him do those things, or if it was just like part of
who he was,
genetic makeup or whatever. But yeah, it was a real problem.
So you're going with bad breath just because it'll be easier to hide it from other people.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think that bad breath is probably the easier of the two to deal with on a regular basis.
I mean, you could spoon. And have that go the other direction. At least you could have physical contact.
Intimate
right?
encounters. You're kissing. I mean, like, you can't.
I know, but you're also to get close enough to kiss, you got to
look
be
at the
like,
baby.
yeah.
Oh, the baby. The dog wants nothing to do with you. I'm not kissing your face. It stinks up there. No?
Junie doesn't give kisses anyway.
Your golden retriever doesn't kiss? What'd you do to the dog?
I didn't do anything.
Isn't
not
it part of its DNA?
Very wiggly butt, loves all of people and being around, but she's not a face licker. Sad.
Speaking of that.
Otis is, thankfully.
Picking up Remy at doggy daycare the other day. Ran into a mutual friend, Jake from Twisted Skull. And his dog came out first and kind of came over and was sniffing me. And I reached down and I'm like, oh, and I started to pet the dog on its head and face and kind of leaned down. And, I'm you don't want to get too close and you don't want to be, don't want the dog's
respectful, yes.
And he's like, wow, she never lets anybody do that. And I was like,
win. One for the win.
That is such a good compliment to receive as an adult. It's like one of the best feelings when someone tells you that their dog usually doesn't like people and lets you pet them. And it's like, hell yeah, bitch.
Yeah, I got dogs.
Coming in hot.
So that.
I'm that guy. I would go with the halitosis as well. Again, easier to cover up. Would you admit to people too, like, look,
I've got, and I can't deal with it?
I think if it was something, it's like my psoriasis. People who don't have it maybe don't know what it is, and they see it, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with your leg? And obviously that's a little different. It's not infringing upon them other than the visual, as opposed to really bad breath or a stinky body.
But not being able to do anything about it.
Well, what's your range? 3 feet, 4 feet?
I don't know. I had a teacher. I told you the story. She was our typing teacher, as a matter of fact, and that was my first experience with halitosis.
Yeah.
As 15, 16 in high school, and she would walk around because you'd be learning how to type, right?
She'd lean in.
And she also had a lisp. So it was just a bad situation all around. It was just bad. But that was my first experience with somebody who really had a problem. But she also would say themi space when she was telling you what to type, and it was bad, and it was like, what is wrong? What is wrong with that? I didn't know that there was that was a condition, and she needed to deal with it.
I think the bad breath would be easier to just tell people.
Because it was all the time.
Just be like, look, I don't know what's wrong. I've been to the doctor. I got really bad breath. I'm sorry.
Things. I've done it all.
I've done it all. Mouthwashes, mints, sprays. I've done it all. The BO, though, it's like, because that BO, you're like, God, you just look at him and you're like, you dirty bastard. Like, what is wrong with you? Take a shower. Got a text from someone who said, I think Brian's TV being on is equivalent to someone having music on all the time. I think it's normal. My ADHD brain doesn't like silence either. I love silence. Don't get me wrong. But I also just, like to have stuff on in the background when I'm, working on things. So I don't know who this, they'll probably I'll keep them anonymous. I work at the courthouse. And there was a guy we call Mr. Stinky that was coming in for probation that smelled so bad people would start gagging when he walked past them.
That's the problem with all that, right? It's just you are really affecting other people wherever you go.
Mr. Stinky. That doesn't seem like it's bad enough if people are gagging when the guy walks past. Seems like maybe take it up a notch.
Well, they might be PGing the conversation.
Avenged Sevenfold now. Office Corps are going to join us in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Well, normally Office Corps would be joining us. I don't know where she's at. I sent her an email. I did not get a response. I texted the boss up there and haven't heard back from him yet either. So
maybe she's out on the golf course getting ready for tomorrow.
Maybe.
You've got a tournament up in Eau Claire tomorrow, so maybe she's there getting things set up.
Yeah, so talk birdie to me, Eau Claire, tomorrow at Princeton Valley Golf Course. Yep. Going to be hitting the balls and drinking some beers and having some fun. Are you there, Office Corps? No?
Nope.
Nothing yet.
Slight chance of rain, but it looks like you guys are going to mostly have a good day out on the golf course.
Yeah, a little warm, but should have a good time. Going to raise some money for Project X and some veterans organizations. Then we got some kind of pub crawl thing afterwards, and then Summer Jam, which is obviously happening in Eau Claire this weekend.
Both Friday and Saturday night, or
Yeah.
Saturday, right? Saturday and Saturday night.
Yeah, so
Big lineup.
Friday night, Saturday night. It actually kind of starts in the late afternoon and continues, into the evening. But yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a good time. Friday, you got gates opening up at 1 o'clock. Everclear is at 3:30. Gavin DeGraw is at 5:15. Live at 7:15.
Yeah, you're excited about that. I know.
And
that.
then Leonard Skinner at 9:30. Saturday, Wang Chung at 2. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. Marshall Tucker Band at 3:30. Rick Springfield at 5:15. Then you've got Collective Soul at 7:15, and then the Black Crowes at 9:30. So it's going to be a couple of late nights. I might not catch all of Leonard Skinner. Might just stick around for a song or two. We'll see. But yeah, Summer Jam in Eau Claire going on Friday and Saturday. Golf tournament as well tomorrow.
Gonna be a busy weekend.
Yeah. Make the trip back and MC the grand reopening of Great River Harley Davidson. 4th anniversary party for them, too. Shop is finally finished.
Yeah, it looks so beautiful in there.
Not quite happened. We'll try to effort this and see where she's at. Make sure she's okay at least. But Bosman said he saw her. So
maybe
I don't.
She has a day off.
Maybe.
Oh, she's there. Okay.
But not getting her on the horn here.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Thank you, Office Cora. So, all right. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll get to her next week.
Not a cloud in the sky right now.
Yeah, very bright, very sunny.
Mid 80s today.
Very bright, very sunny. We've got, what do we got? Friggin' sports. We'll get to that in just a couple minutes. Also, of course, bad news, happy music. Right now, Lincoln Park.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. More from Brian and Gene is coming up.
That is the latest from Lincoln Park, up from the bottom. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, the Friggin' Sports. Brought to you by Lord Stanley's Cup, the most beautiful trophy in all of sports. Everybody gets a turn with it.
Where'd it go?
Well, it stuck around for a little while, which was really cool. Panthers winning on their home ice. And normally...
Yeah, it's repeat, too, isn't it?
No, two back-to-back. They'd gone 3 years in a row, but it was their second in a row. Normally, etiquette when you win the Stanley Cup is that the captain of the team gets the cup first in terms of the presentation on the ice. And then he'll hand it off to other veterans, guys that have paid their dues, been around, guys that you rely on, those dudes. But the captain of the team decided this year he was going to be handing it off to some of the guys that weren't there last year when they won the cup. So they had a chance to hold the cup and skate around in front of the fans, and everybody gets a turn.
So some newbies, but they started it out.
So cool little, thing that they did this year. Not necessarily the first time ever, but still cool. And then after they went down into the tunnel and got out of their hockey gear and maybe showered up a little bit and celebrated, poured champagne all over each other and acted a little goofy, did some interviews. Alexander Barkov, took the trophy, the Stanley Cup trophy, back out onto the ice because there were people that are working in the arena where the Florida Panthers play. Concession workers.
Yeah, I would imagine
janitorial
lots of people,
staff.
Yes. For them?
And they're all up there in the stands cleaning. No fans left, no music playing, the lights are still on.
Up. Yep.
And he brought him out the Stanley Cup and was on the ice, and he kept lifting it up, and they were cheering, and it was there's a really cool little video of it if you haven't seen it. But then, as hockey players are known to do, they went and had a few beers.
And then?
And Barkov decided that he was gonna just spend the night with the trophy and just take the trophy wherever he damn well pleased.
And I heard a great story about Barkov from last night. Apparently, he went home at like 5 a.m. to change and clean up before they kept going, and walked around his neighborhood and banged on everybody's front door. Hey, you want to touch coffee with the cup? Yeah.
Oh, so amazing.
Now, this is not a neighborhood like yours and mine. This is
I imagine.
This guy's a famous, rich, well-to-do athlete.
Everybody else is famous and rich, too.
Probably a gated community. Everyone knows who he is, knows he plays for the Panthers, all that stuff, right? Everyone probably knows. But that was Panthers GM Bill Zito during his appearance on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, talking about how Barkov was walking around his neighborhood at about 5 a.m. with the Stanley Cup saying, hey, you want to have coffee with the cup? And wouldn't you know it, one of those neighbors has a Ring doorbell camera.
They're going to be here.
He's coming.
Oh, he's coming out or what?
Yes, he's coming.
Yes, he's coming. Turn your lights on. It's dark out here. You asked for this. Or you asked for it. What's up?
He's on his way.
He's coming.
Turn the lights on. It's dark out here. He asked for this. He's coming. He's on his way. Barkov walking around his neighborhood, ringing on doors with the cup and a couple other guys on the team out there in the dark on the Ring camera. Funny video.
So if I win, I'm going to bring the cup to your house. I mean, you know that, Bob.
Well, yeah, they're grilling out maybe one afternoon on a Sunday when he's
walking
got
the dog or something, and they're like, hey, good luck.
What are you going to do with that cup on your day with it?
I'll bring it over.
We'll have some coffee. Drink coffee out of it. It'd be great. Yeah, the video of him, you can see it on Barstool. They got it, obviously. Barkov going to his neighbor's house, ringing the doorbell and waiting for him to come out. Can he come out and play? I got this cup over here. Friggin' sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to bad news, happy music in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril. Now that's just nasty. Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man. Florida man. Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
There's scammers everywhere. They're always trying to scam you. They're trying to get your money, get your info, get your credit card numbers, get your social security number. A family soda business in Connecticut. Small operation. Kind of like Spring Grove, right?
So making craft pops, if you will.
Sodas. A family soda business in Connecticut scammed out of $100,000.
Oh, jeez.
In a
labels or bottles or lids?
In a Publishers Clearinghouse scam. The co-owner dragged his own brother in his interview saying, I know Bill is kind of gullible, but to send a company check, a signed company check, is beyond belief.
The red flag was the girl that helps me with finances told me that there was a check withdrawn for $49,555. There was a note from my brother saying he had sent a check to verify employment for Publishers Clearinghouse, and the void became Viola Smith, and Viola proceeded to cash her check. Just terrible people, and they take advantage of people that are getting older.
$50,000?
Hosmer Mountain Bottling is the name of the company. Not much has changed since Hosmer Mountain started in the early 1900s. This company's been around for a while.
Grandpas started it. Grandpas, great-grandpas.
Andrew's father bought the family soda business in 1958. They run a successful business selling locally made sweet drinks all over Connecticut and Massachusetts, but something happened recently that obviously left a very bad taste in their mouth. The girl who helps him with the accounting and the finances says, hey,
there's a red flag here. I'm seeing this really big check.
Yeah, almost $50,000. That was the first check. Then another one appeared for the very same amount.
God.
Andrew had no clue what they were at first. He said, there was a note from my brother saying he had sent the check to verify employment for Publishers Clearinghouse. The brother, Bill, said he was told he had won $5,500,000 from Publishers Clearinghouse and they needed to verify his employment. He was told to write void on the check. The void turned into Viola Smith, and Viola proceeded to cash her check. Bill, of course, didn't win anything. It was a complete scam. Don't you write void on the entire check?
Yes.
So that it's big and it's in marker.
All the way across.
Yeah, so they can't fill in all the stuff.
I can't believe they tried to go after him with a check.
The crazy part is the scammers actually sent him a check for $5,500,000, which was, of course, fake, just to keep up the lie, right? Like, oh, my God, the check's here. I couldn't believe it. I know Bill is kind of gullible, but to send a company check, a signed company check, is beyond belief, said Chuck,
So he'd sign it and put void?
Yeah.
Oof.
Since 2018, Publishers Clearinghouse has been on the Better Business Bureau's list of top impersonated scams.
For real?
Last year, it landed at number 1. Well, I mean, if let's say you're in your 70s or your 80s or your 90s, like your mother, those commercials in the 70s and 80s are when they were in their sweet spot, right? When your grandmother, your mom was in her 50s, 40s, whatever, raising kids, had a house and had it on, and you see Ed McMahon or whoever the hell it was, Lee Iacocca, showing up with this giant check. All I got to do is buy a couple of magazines or whatever, and the balloons. Yeah, I mean, and that's who they're preying on, these people who maybe are not.
Oh, my gosh. So you won a bunch of money, and we just need some money from you before you can get the money that you won.
Losing $100,000 won't put them out of business, said the guy in charge.
But there's a lot of money.
It's made things uncomfortable. They're all worried about the brother Bill, and their feelings about the family business have obviously soured. How cruel and dishonest. There are people out there that are just cockroaches, just terrible people. They take advantage of people that are getting older. Active investigation ongoing.
I was just going to say, can't they? I mean,
well, there's got to be an address. A P.O. box or something, right? I mean, you don't just...
Well, less so that than figuring out which bank they cashed his checks at.
Right.
Because some person has to be involved in that, and I would think through cameras and whatever, they could at least attempt to figure out who
All
that
right,
is.
Here we go.
Number one scam, huh?
Next up, scenario. I'm going to put you inside a scenario. 84
snakes?
No. Okay. 84-year-old guy inside a laundromat when a thief, a robber, came in. What would the 84-year-old man use in the laundromat to ward off this attempted theft?
Well, how about a laundry basket?
Nope.
How about a bag of change?
Nope.
A bottle of laundry detergent?
Nope.
Oh, one of those pushy cart things?
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
His belt.
Getting closer.
His pants?
Ding. We got ourselves a winner.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Man who tried to rob a retired 84-year-old guy at a laundromat in France was fought off with a pair of jeans and has now been captured and is in jail. Lloyd Smith bursting through the doors of the Coin-Op laundromat in France back on January 7th, where Ron Croker was drying his clothes. Smith in a mask demanding that Mr. Croker hand over his wallet, but he was shoved through the door by the 84-year-old who wrapped a pair of jeans around his arms to protect him from any potential weapons. So it's like the dog bite thing. He wraps it over. Maybe it's a wet pair of jeans. Those are pretty standard. Pretty substantial. Yeah. Lloyd Smith, the guy who the attempted robber, pled guilty to attempted robbery, was jailed for 3 years and 9 months on Tuesday. They don't wait around.
Like it happened and then he was...
January 7th.
Okay. I was going to say.
There's also footage, by the way,
of this 84-year-old guy wrapping himself up in denim.
Wrapping up some denim around his arm and then shoving this guy around. Ron Croker.
Going in for the heat.
84-year-old Ron Croker using a pair of his own jeans to fend off this would-be attacker. Push his ass out the door.
How much robbing are you doing at a laundromat?
Wow. You see an old dude. You see an old dude in there, all by himself. I don't know.
Get his wallet,
credit cards. Not on this guy's watch. They weren't on the ground. They were wrapped around his arm.
Defensive moves.
Yeah, as he was pushing this guy out the door. I'll watch this video here. Hey, he's got his hood up. He's got the mask on. He's talking to him. He's all very active and moving around. This guy just starts walking towards him, puts the pants around his arm, and they're shoving each other. Then he takes the pants, he starts swinging them at the guy.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, takes a couple of good swings. Ron Croker is not to be messed with. Then the guy comes back a second time when Ron turns around to go back to his laundry. Oh, he gets him in the face with the pants. In the face.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Ron's not having it. Salty old veteran.
I'm pretty good in the pants department.
Thank you,
He's
Sean.
really good in the pants department.
That guy is he's very skilled. He is an expert in the pants department. Bad news with happy music. This has got to completely suck. A taco festival in downtown Colorado.
Yeah, I'm with you so far.
Some city in Colorado. Tacos, drinks, music.
Yeah. Street tacos, little vendors.
Vendors, the whole 9 yards, right? All sorts of different tacos. You go there with your girlies.
Yeah.
You're hanging out.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, a giant I Love Taco sign falls on top of your head and leaves a gash that requires a bunch of stitches and also breaks some of your vertebrae.
Whoa!
We got to Top Taco. We were super excited. The four of us went and posed in front of it. And it was really the last thing I remember.
It was just like all of a sudden the sign was on us. I couldn't believe how heavy it was.
I remember I kept reaching for the top of my head, like, I feel like my head has exploded. 11 staples,
oh my
4-inch
God.
gash in my head, 4 fractured vertebrae, a lot of chaos, and nobody knowing where or what to do.
And then immediately they were like, we can't get an ambulance here. A golf cart pulled up and they're like, we're gonna have to move you in a golf cart. And at that point we knew she was having neck pain. Like, we can't get her up walking to a golf cart.
Westminster, Colorado.
Oh my God.
As a giant I Love Taco sign fell down at a popular taco festival. Selena Tony.
11 staples.
Taking the brunt of it. She's at home recovering after a night out at Top Taco Festival on Thursday of last week. 11 staples, 4-inch gash in my head, 4 fractured vertebrae, and a pretty severe physical therapy. Can't make a fist right now. Can't even make a fist. Excited to go to the festival. Gone last year with her daughter, Jasmine. This year, she went along with her friend Shelly and Jasmine's partner, Marissa. It was fun until it wasn't, she says. Like a Mack truck driving us into the grounds. I remember I kept reaching for the top of my head, like I feel like my head had exploded. Marissa escaping uninjured. Jasmine hurt her shoulder. Shelly's arm bruised and scratched. Luckily, if we were 1 foot back, though, all of us would have been crushed by that sign. And as you heard there, it sounds like they were ill-prepared for any sort of incident at this festival where they couldn't get an ambulance to them. Maybe too many people, they didn't have it parked in the right way, so they got a golf cart and... yeah.
Ugh, very icky. And
the women also said, by the way, that people came over with black cloths. This is like the NASCAR thing. When they bring out the black sheet and they come because it's really bad and they don't want the fans or people to see it, right? And they're trying to
and that's what they were doing.
Cover up the evidence.
Covering it up for people.
Preventing the crowd from seeing Selena. And I heard no pictures, no recording. Put your phones away. It was just chaotic.
Yeah, I bet.
There's going to be some big-ass lawsuits with this.
Huge lawsuits.
Yeah.
I Love Tacos is not...
It's going to be brought to you by me for free all the time. All the tacos. Yeah. The Dining Out Events organization who does and puts on the Top Taco Festival said, releasing a statement saying, our hearts are with Selena and her family during this difficult time. Her well-being is our top priority. We are committed to doing everything we can to support her recovery. Dining Out has produced safe events for over a decade. We take pride in care and preparation and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, freak accident, I'm sure. Something that nobody could have predicted.
We have reached out to Selena to offer our support, and we'll be readily helping with any injury claim process.
Yeah, you sure
Bitch, you're going to be readily lawsuiting is what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Rootin' tootin' lawsuiting.
Yep, that's going to happen. We're going to be here to help her when we can, in any way we can, by cutting her a big check.
Well, and look, I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve everything that's coming to her, but as people who also put on large events from time to time.
That's what I'm saying. They probably
sometimes you don't have any idea what's going to happen until it happens, so it's hard to prepare for the worst, you know?
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you don't get to make it right afterwards, right? Yeah. Last but not least, bad news, happy music. Another incident on a plane.
Karen.
You what? Why did you do that? Why did you do that, Karen?
She's alarming but disarming and a really very charming modern girl.
Karen.
Oh, Karen, what are you doing, Karen? Why are you doing this to me, Karen? Drunk, Southwest Airlines passenger arrested after having a complete meltdown on a plane before takeoff at LaGuardia.
What was the meltdown about?
Hard to say. It sounds like just from the audio. I didn't read any of the comments on the Twitter, but just from the audio, it sounds like she didn't want to sit next to a certain person on the plane, and obviously she'd had some drinks or some sort of drugs or something. The video starts out with her leaning across the seat with her phone, arguing with some of the people on the plane. The next thing you know, she's grabbing some woman's hair. A couple of people come over to try to get her out. She's claiming I'm not touching her hair, but she's got a full fist of it. The woman that she's grabbing has got a mask on and maybe immunocompromised. I have no idea, but obviously is not interested in being up close and personal with this lady. She starts yelling expletives, then starts spitting on this woman. You can hear the handcuffs coming out. She's dropping the F-bomb left and right. And then eventually they get her all sorted out and get her on the ground, and she starts to freak out and realize that things are going bad. There's a part in this, too, where there's... you got to hear this. You got to see it, and you got to hear it.
That was what you just said was a complete and total mess.
Stay there.
Don't
Let
touch
me show.
people.
Don't touch her. No.
Don't touch her. Don't touch
No,
her.
this is where her is.
Do not touch her.
Look at her.
Shut the f up. Be Don't touch me. Miss, step back. Let go. Não encosta nela. Tira a mão.
Tira. No.
Let go of her hair.
You cannot do that.
Let go, miss. Let go of her hair. Tira a mão.
I'm not.
Andre.
I'm not even touching your hair, bitch.
Andre, we need the police right now.
You need to let go
We
right
need
now.
those 911.
You need to let go.
911 back.
You need to let go right now.
Miss, let go of her hair right now.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't want to sit next to a fat lady.
Let go of her hair.
You need to let go of her hair right now.
Let go of her hair.
You guys are already past the point of no return. You're already past the point of no return.
Let go of her hair, miss.
Y'all see me. You know what's going on. It's just yeah, put me on the ground. Put me on the ground. All right. Look at this fat lady. Look at this fat ass bitch. She can't even look. You can't even see her stomach. It's horrible. Look at her outfit. Look at this fat ass bitch. Hilarious. You can't even show your mouth because you're embarrassed. You can't even see it because you're embarrassed. Shut the f up.
Who is Alana?
Sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, ugly ass dude. Who's never gonna lay it again. Okay, I'm sorry, black guy. My boyfriend's black, so shut the f up. My boyfriend's a black guy. My boyfriend's a black. My boyfriend's black. My boyfriend's a black guy. You're joking.
Oh my God.
We're not doing all that. We're not doing
Shut the f up. Shut the f up. Shut the f up.
I'm gonna do one.
Shut the f up.
Shut the f up. I can't breathe.
Yeah, about 2 minutes of that.
Wow.
It's a scene, man. If you haven't seen the video, Barstool's got it.
That is a scene.
A drunk lady on a LaGuardia, a Southwest flight from LaGuardia,
Dude,
just completely melting down. And yeah, grabbing this woman's hair.
Oh, all of it is just a...
The cuffs come out. She's got her hand wrapped inside that hair. She's not letting go. Starts spitting on the lady after the cuffs get put on her. Then when she gets put on the floor, she realizes that things are not going to go her way and starts having a meltdown. And yeah, put that on the list of reasons to never fly again.
Oof.
No thanks. Bad news, happy music on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene.
Terrible.
We'll get to our daily check-ins after Static X.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings. Call.
Hello.
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us. Check. We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Rockmornings.com for all of our contact info. I got a Facebook message from Chrissy. Said, hope you can put a shout out on the radio. Large dog. Black and tan, collar, no tags, running between 16th, King, and Cass. Which is, trying to think of where that is.
Kind of over by
the park.
I think.
By the park,
by
right?
Wygant Park,
in the softball field. Finally caught him on 21st and King. Apparently very skittish. Cops came, then the Humane Society came. That's where he's at now. If anybody is over in the
That area.
16th King and Cass Street area looking for a large dog, older dog apparently, with a collar with no tags. Then the Humane Society has apparently shown up and taken the dog. So thank you very much for the message. Appreciate that. I've had that happen so many friggin' times, and it is, as an owner, you're like, that's why it's important to put those tags on them, man, with the phone numbers, because you just hope that eventually they get tired of running and they stop and someone grabs them, and you're like, just call me, I'll come pick them up. Yeah. Cora, apparently, I got an email from Cora. I apologize. We love to talk to Office Cora every Thursday morning, and apparently this morning there was some sort of issue at the office, and she was on late, so...
It happens.
I told her that I would likely see her tomorrow, and that we'll...
That's exciting.
...get her on next Thursday, so... Just got a message from someone asking about any news on the Ultra Rock concerts. I don't have any, but...
no news.
No news, but obviously if we do get news on that stuff, we'll let you know. Pass it along. Michelle apparently having issues with the app. I told her that there's no problem on my end. Said, is there something wrong with the app? Mine keeps cutting out this morning and has gone off the air again. Again, I don't have that issue, so I don't know what to tell you there, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, we were talking about Hypothetical Thursday, bad odor or body odor or bad breath. And
Both bad.
You went with bad breath
I
because
did.
it'd be easier to conceal. Chuck texted us and said that he works at the courthouse, and they have a guy that comes in and they call Mr. Stinky. Smells so bad, people start gagging when he walks by. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't smell very good. Got another text from someone who said, I think Brian's TV being on is equivalent to someone having music on all the time. I think it's normal. My ADHD brain doesn't like silence either.
So when you're doing work, you like to have a movie or show on in the background. I just don't know how you're not distracted all the time.
Yeah. Also got a text earlier talking about part of your hypothetical question was, living in the country or
Yeah, cabin in the woods or the big city.
Roxy from the 715 said, I went from Rockford, Illinois to Cadott, Wisconsin.
Yeah, big change.
And I said, that's a big change of pace. And Roxy said, especially at 15 years old. Yeah. When you're a teenager and you're used to city living and all those people and all the stuff, and then you go out, there's trees.
A lot of farmland up here,
trees.
A lot of farmland.
What's this
Center
weather?
of Wisconsin.
What's this weather we're having? Thank you for all the correspondence. Good to hear from you guys. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.